Life in a 4D world. Let's look at the laws of space and time first. Those laws are the ones that govern our universe. Everyday life is determined by the dimensions of space. Furthermore, time pertains to our existence. People observe the world in 3 spatial dimensions. They are left, right, backward, forward, and up and down. These are commonly referred to as length, width, and depth. What about time? Objects such as humans, computers, books, or bikes, or anything in particular would not have duration without time. Without duration, they would be instantaneous and therefore wouldn't have a real existence as they do not last for any time at all. What dimensions can we perceive? Humans are not able to perceive anything past the spatial dimensions of length, width, and depth. These 3 are the ones we encounter every day. This gives rise to the question, is there a 4th dimension? The notion of higher dimensions goes back to the late 18th century. We go from a dot to a line to 2D figures to the 3D ones we know. Physicists have understood that in theory, there may be higher dimensions beside our normal 3. Depending on who you talk to, the answer varies. Many consider the 4th dimension to be time. Others believe it to be another dimension of space. The first sign of other dimensions appeared when Einstein presented his theory of special relativity in 1905. His theory introduced space-time and led to the belief that there is a 4th dimension, being time. The theory of space-time combined both space and time into a single continuum. This became a highly popular theory that showed that a body must have extension in 4 directions: length, breadth, depth, and also must have duration or to last in time. We can measure time. 2 hours later is always 2 hours later. In the same fashion, we are able to measure from one point in time to another. Likewise, 2 units up, forward, or right can be measured in a linear sense. However, our consciousness continually only moves forward in time. We're incapable of moving in the opposite direction, as we could do in the other dimensions. This makes time a separate temporal dimension from the spatial ones we observe. The theory of time is a popular explanation for what the 4th dimension could look like. However, numerous people theorize that another spatial dimension is the 4th. Usually when we discuss the 4th dimension, it is considered space-time. But here, a spatial dimension beyond the 3 is speculated. To represent a 3-dimensional system, we use an XYZ coordinate system. We're able to move left, right, backward, forward, or up and down. To represent a 4-dimensional system, we would need to add another coordinate, W. We could shoot an arrow in every direction, and the line created wouldn't be perpendicular to the other lines. Right now, you're positioned at an XYZ coordinate in the universe. Walking to a different location would alter your coordinate. Another example would be to climb a ladder, changing your altitude, or moving forward, backward, left or right. We cannot, however, change your coordinate without moving. You can't because there's no 4th spatial dimension for us to go through, just as it's impossible to draw new perpendicular axes to the X, Y, and Z axes. To illustrate a possible new dimension, let's pretend to be a shape. For instance, imagine yourself as a square. We can only move left, right, backward, forward, and the world of up and down do not exist to us as we are not 3D objects. Now let's picture a cube. It descends from a certain altitude and sets down on the ground. Only a face of the cube would exist to us. The part we can see is the 2-dimensional face of the cube, as we are 2D objects. Now let's envision the cube picks you up and lifts you into the air. You would be pulled into a world that you didn't know existed. You still wouldn't have been able to gone up or down not being a cube. However, you would be able to distinguish the up and down were there. When you came back down, you'd be unable to point up to show this new dimension to others. You had learned about its existence in reality nonetheless. The same principle applies to the fourth dimension, except we are 3D objects. To consider the fourth dimension, imagine a new cube. Now let's project it into a new dimension, where you can draw right angles to each line segment. What would the 4D version of a cube look like then? We will create a new figure, a hypercube, or the 4D equivalent of a cube, which is also known as a tesseract. The tesseract is rotating inward and outward in the fourth dimensional space. It will look like two cubes nested in each other, with lines connecting the vertices. It would forever rotate in and out of itself, while remaining a cube all the while. Every object in this dimension would appear to rotate in and out of itself, no matter what shape it is. We can call the world of 4 dimensions inward-outward. Each object in this world would be rotating inwards and outwards of itself. A 4-dimensional being would see all the points of an object at once. This dimension is a whole new realm that we can learn about. Though we may not be able to observe a fourth spatial dimension yet, it doesn't rule out its existence. New dimensions may be out of our reach for now, but that won't stop us from exploring and learning as much as we can about the universe. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.